What's happening, Raider Nation? I hope you're sitting down because what I'm about to tell you is going to shake the very foundation of everything you thought you knew about this franchise. We're not just talking about roster moves here. We're talking about a complete philosophical transformation that's happening right before our eyes in Las Vegas. Today, we've got updates that are going to rock your football soul. A former quarterback who's found his way back to familiar territory after a tumultuous journey through multiple organizations. A running back decision that's proving to be either genius or catastrophic depending on how you look at it, and a veteran addition that could completely rewrite the script of this entire season. And if you bleed silver and black, hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and drop your hottest takes in the comments. Let's show the NFL that Raider Nation dominates every corner of the internet. If you think you've heard it all about this organization, think again. Because what's happening inside the Raiders facility could completely flip the narrative of not just this season, but the entire future of this franchise. The decisions being made, the players being moved, the strategies being implemented, it's all building towards something that nobody saw coming. Let me start with a story that perfectly encapsulates the brutal reality of NFL quarterback battles, and how sometimes the most unexpected journeys lead players exactly where they need to be. Picture this: a quarterback who was once considered a franchise cornerstone, who led his college team to the brink of a national championship, suddenly finding himself fighting for his professional life. We're talking about a player whose college resume was absolutely pristine, leading the Cincinnati Bearcats to the college football playoff semifinals against Alabama in 2021, displaying the kind of leadership and composure that made NFL scouts salivate. But the professional game is a different beast entirely. After being drafted in the 3rd round by the Falcons in 2022, this quarterback earned a starting job by the end of his rookie year. The organization had faith in him, named him the starter heading into the 2023 campaign, and for a moment, it looked like everything was falling into place. He started 13 games that season, managed to win 6 of them, but something wasn't clicking. The performance was underwhelming, inconsistent, lacking that spark that separates franchise quarterbacks from career backups. Atlanta's front office saw enough to make a massive move, bringing in Kirk Cousins in free agency. Just like that, our quarterback found himself traded to the Cardinals, where the struggle continued. He lost the backup quarterback battle to Clayton Tune, and spent months languishing on the taxi squad, watching from the sidelines as his NFL dream started to crumble. That's when the Raiders came calling. Las Vegas was quarterback needy, desperate for depth, and they saw potential where others saw damaged goods. But even in Sin City, the magic didn't happen. He started just one game for the Raiders in Week 15, completing 23 of 39 passes for 208 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions in a devastating 15-9 loss. The new Vegas regime made their decision. They were moving forward with Aiden O'Connell as their backup, leaving our quarterback to search for his next opportunity elsewhere. But here's where the story gets beautiful, where the NFL's cruel poetry reveals itself. That quarterback is Desmond Ridder, and he's found his way back to Cincinnati, back to the Bengals, back to the city where he became a legend, back to working with Zach Taylor, the man who recruited him to the University of Cincinnati when Taylor was the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach in 2016. Sometimes the universe has a way of bringing things full circle, of giving players exactly what they need when they need it most. Ridder will turn 26 next month, which in quarterback years means he's still got plenty of time to figure this thing out. He's not competing for a starting job in Cincinnati. That belongs to Joe Burrow, obviously. But he's fighting for that crucial 3rd quarterback spot with Logan Woodside. It's a chance to reset, to learn, to be around an organization that knows how to develop quarterbacks and understands his skill set better than anyone. The beauty of this move isn't just about Ridder finding a home, it's about what it represents. The Bengals are betting on potential, on the belief that sometimes players need the right environment to flourish. They're looking at a quarterback who once dominated college football and thinking, maybe we can unlock something that nobody else has been able to access. But just when it seemed like this quarterback renaissance was the biggest storyline of the week, another narrative began to emerge from the desert. And trust me, you're not ready for the emotional roller coaster that comes next. Let's talk about running backs, about loyalty, about the brutal business decisions that define this league. Picture the scene. Las Vegas 2024 offseason, a franchise at a crossroads with one of the most beloved players in recent team history. We're talking about a running back who rushed for over 1,000 yards multiple times, who carried this offense on his back when everything else was falling apart, who embodied the Raider spirit in every single carry. Josh Jacobs wasn't just a player for this organization. He was the heartbeat of the offense, the guy who showed up every Sunday ready to run through brick walls. But here's the harsh reality of the NFL. Sentiment doesn't pay the bills, and the Raiders were facing a decision that would define their philosophy for years to come. Do you pay aging running backs top dollar, or do you invest that money elsewhere and hope you can find production at a cheaper price? The Raiders made their choice. They let Jacobs walk in free agency, watching one of their most productive offensive weapons sign with the Green Bay Packers. At the time, it felt like a betrayal to Raider Nation, like the front office was giving up on a proven commodity for some unknown quantity. The criticism was immediate and merciless. How do you let a 1,000-yard rusher just walk away? But then something interesting happened. Jacobs went to Green Bay and did exactly what everyone expected him to do. He dominated, finished the season with 1,329 rushing yards, racked up 15 rushing touchdowns, and looked like he had plenty left in the tank. Bucky Brooks of NFL.com recently predicted that Jacobs will win the Offensive Player of the Year award this season, calling him a grinder who could quietly pick up 2,000 scrimmage yards in Matt LaFleur's offensive system. The Packers added Matthew Golden in the draft, a perimeter playmaker with home run potential, which should open up even more running lanes for Jacobs. When defenses are worried about explosive plays from Jordan Love and the receiving core, Jacobs becomes even more dangerous as a crafty runner and receiver. It's the perfect storm for a career year, and it's happening with a different team while the Raiders are starting over at the position. So did the Raiders make the right decision? That's the million-dollar question that's been haunting the fan base since the moment Jacobs signed with Green Bay. On one hand, you've got a proven commodity putting up elite numbers in a better offensive system. On the other hand, you've got a front office that's betting on the future that believes they can find similar production at a fraction of the cost. Current Raiders general manager John Spytek has been adamant that the organization doesn't undervalue the running back position. Their selection of Ashton Jeanty in the draft proves this philosophy. Jeanty rushed for almost 2,600 yards last year with 29 touchdowns, caught 43 balls in 2023 for over 10 yards per catch, and brings the kind of versatility that modern NFL offenses demand. He can line up anywhere, run routes, catch balls, and pass protect, essentially everything you want in a modern running back. Running backs score touchdowns, Spytek explained. Touchdowns, I think, are pretty important and make playing defense a lot easier too. It's a simple philosophy, but it cuts to the heart of what the Raiders are trying to build. They're not just looking for a guy who can carry the ball. They want someone who can impact the game in multiple ways. Someone who fits the modern NFL while still embodying that classic Raider toughness. The question isn't whether Jacobs is still a good player. He obviously is, and he's proven it every week in Green Bay. The question is whether the Raiders made the right organizational decision for their long-term future. Are they better off with a younger, cheaper option who can grow with the team, or should they have paid market value for proven production? Time will tell, but right now, watching Jacobs thrive in Green Bay while the Raiders are installing a completely new offensive system, it's hard not to wonder what could have been. The emotional attachment runs deep in Raider Nation, and seeing a beloved player succeed elsewhere always stings, regardless of the business logic behind the decision. But as the dust settled around the Jacobs situation and the quarterback carousel kept spinning, another story was quietly developing in the background. A story about leadership, about experience, about bringing in exactly the right player at exactly the right time. And just when you thought you understood the direction of this franchise, everything changed with one phone call between old friends. Believe it or not, the most significant story of this entire offseason hasn't even been properly told yet. We've talked about young quarterbacks searching for their identity, about running back decisions that tug at the heartstrings, but the move that could define this entire era of Raiders football was happening behind the scenes while everyone was focused on the drama. Sometimes the best decisions are the quietest ones, the moves that don't generate massive headlines but fundamentally alter the trajectory of an organization. We're talking about a veteran addition that was described as a no-brainer, a trade that cost the Raiders only a third-round pick but could deliver franchise-changing results. Enter Geno Smith, and suddenly everything makes sense. This wasn't just about adding a quarterback. This was about bringing in a proven leader who has a decade plus of NFL experience, someone who knows what it takes to succeed at the highest level. But the real story here isn't just about Smith's ability, it's about the relationship that made this move possible, the connection between player and coach that goes back years and years. Pete Carroll didn't just want any veteran quarterback, he wanted Geno Smith specifically. It was one of the options that I was hoping would be available, Carroll explained. Geno was prominent in my mind because I know exactly what we're getting, and Geno and I have a tremendously long, in-depth relationship. That relationship is the foundation of everything the Raiders are trying to build. Carroll and Smith stayed in communication throughout the entire previous season, even when they were with different organizations. You'd be surprised how much we were just communicating. Stayed in touch, Carroll revealed. And really, it's about me supporting him and hoping for the best. When the opportunity finally presented itself, it was automatic. When it came around time where we can finally get to it, it was an automatic that we would take a shot at it, Carroll said. And fortunately, Seattle was willing to listen, and John Spytek did his first big-time deal, and we put it off exactly in the manner that we wanted to. This is what championship organizations do. They identify exactly what they need. They develop relationships over time, and when the opportunity presents itself, they strike decisively. The Raiders didn't just acquire a quarterback, they acquired a proven winner who knows Carroll's system inside and out. Someone who can provide instant credibility to an offense that's been searching for identity. Smith brings something that can't be taught, the confidence that comes from elite-level success. He's not a developmental project or a reclamation story. He's a quarterback who performed at an elite level in Seattle and brings that championship mindset to Las Vegas. What he brings to us is great confidence, Carroll noted. He brings to me, I know that we're going to get great play out of his spot. The transition has been seamless because the foundation was already there. From the time we first contacted him and let him know that we were in on this deal and we were both excited about it. And so I feel really like we are connected at the hip, Carroll explained. We have so much background. I mean, it's not just a couple seasons that he played, it's all of the years that he was there. This is the beauty of the Smith acquisition. It's not about learning a new system or building chemistry from scratch. It's about two football minds who understand each other completely, who have spent years communicating and preparing for exactly this opportunity. Smith spent years in Seattle working with Carroll, but even when he wasn't the starter, Carroll was invested in his development. To me, coaching the next quarterback up is really crucial, Carroll said. And so we spent a lot of time communicating and setting our priorities straight, staying on course. And then now Smith arrives in Las Vegas as an elite quarterback in the league, in Carroll's words, ready to provide the kind of veteran leadership that championship teams require. This isn't about potential or upside. This is about proven production from a quarterback who knows exactly what it takes to win at the highest level. The ripple effects of this move extend far beyond just the quarterback position. When you have a veteran like Smith anchoring your offense, it changes how everyone else can develop. Aiden O'Connell can focus on learning and growing without the pressure of being the immediate answer. The running game becomes more effective when defenses have to respect the passing attack. The receivers can play with more confidence knowing they have a quarterback who will get them the ball in the right spots. But perhaps most importantly, Smith brings the kind of championship culture that the Raiders have been missing. He's been in big games, made big throws, and knows what it feels like to carry a franchise on his shoulders. That experience is invaluable, especially for a young team trying to establish its identity in a competitive division. So the question isn't whether this team can make a run this season, it's whether the rest of the AFC West is ready for what the Raiders are building. You've got a veteran quarterback who knows the system, a young running back with unlimited potential, a defense that's been quietly improving, and a coaching staff that knows exactly what it takes to win championships. The decisions that seemed questionable a few months ago suddenly look like masterstrokes. Letting Jacobs walk allowed them to invest in other areas. Taking a chance on younger players like Ridder shows they're not afraid to develop talent. And bringing in Smith provides the veteran leadership that ties everything together. If this fired you up, don't forget to smash that like button, drop your boldest predictions in the comments, and subscribe for more Raiders content. Because this story, Raider Nation, is just getting started. The silver and black are back, and the rest of the league better be ready.